Congratulations to Primož Roglič on winning his third consecutive Vuelta España title. After a barnstorming 3 weeks across Spain, we now know that Roglič has become just the fourth man to win 3 Vuelta Españas and the first person since 2003 to do so. So whilst Primož Roglič pops open the carver yet again, let's ask the question, how did Primož Roglič win La Vuelta España? Coming into La Vuelta, Roglič was undeniably the red-hot favourite. After having crashed out of the Tour de France, Roglič proved his form at the Olympic Games with a fabulous gold medal in the time trial. With this known, Roglič would have to fight off his rivals such as Giro d'Italia champion Egan Bernal and the Movistar double act of Superman Lopez and Enric Mas. With aspirations high, La Vuelta kicked off in perfect fashion on stage 1's prologue. On the city streets of Burgos, Roglič sailed away to victory on the first day of racing. The Slovenian's performance in the opening prologue put some ripples into GC, already putting an 18-second gap between himself and Enric Mas. With the red jersey secured on day 1, this was the perfect way to start the race. After guarding the jersey on a flat stage, Roglič would next battle on the slopes of the Picon Blanco. On this stage, Jumbo-Visma held back and allowed Rein Tarame to sail away to victory, whilst challenging for the GC lead as well. In the group of favourites, on the other hand, Enric Mas challenged most of the GC riders. In response, Roglič held back and played along with the big guns. All in all, after stage 3, Roglič only lost red to Tarame, but he was still firmly in control of GC, only shedding a couple of seconds to Enric Mas. On stage 6, Roglič would once again face a battle for the red jersey. On a day that expected wins, the breakaway were up front, with Maunuscord solo. On the final kicker of the day at the Montaña de la Cullera, Roglič followed all the moves previously initiated by Vlasov. The Slovenian would attack once again, distancing the Ineos leaders and putting valuable time into his rivals. Placing second on the stage behind Maunuscord, Roglič found himself once again in the red jersey after taking it from the hands of Kenny Elissonde through bonus seconds and that strong performance. After a couple of days defending the jersey on the flat and also with the uncomplicated mountain stages, Roglič would face a difficult stage on day 9 to the Alto de Berefique. After a chain of relentless attacks from Yates and Kuss, Roglič threw down the gauntlet, placing a decisive attack, bringing forward only Enric Mas of Movistar. The Spaniard and Slovenian formed their own alliance against Ineos Grenadiers, who were facing difficulties as Egan Bernal and Adam Yates imploded on the difficult Berefique. Sailing across the line together, Roglič and Mas proved their strength, extending Roglic's lead in GC to 28 seconds to Mas, and now 1 minute and 52 seconds ahead of Egan Bernal. Going into the rest day, Roglič looked imperious. Could anyone really stop the Slovenian from charging away yet again? Week 2 of the Vuelta España started off with a stage that we thought would go to a breakaway. A stage that was maybe underwhelming on paper was thrown on its head by Primož Roglič. With Michael Storer at the head of the race, it looked like Odd Christian Eiking and Guillaume Martin would become the big winners in GC, gaining 10 minutes. However, back in the bunch, Roglič looked calm, guarding his place well. At about 10 kilometers to go, Roglič launched a vicious attack. This move would place him 20 seconds ahead of the Enric Mas group as they crossed the summit of the final climb. As Primož began his descent, things became hairy. On one corner, Roglič hit the deck, losing all the time he had previously gained on the climb. Roglič remained with Enric Mas, Jack Haig and Miguel Angel Lopez to finish the day on the same time. Whilst Roglič licked his wounds, Intermarché's Odd Christian Eiking became the new leader of the race. Nevertheless, despite Roglic's fall, he came back fighting on stage 11's hilltop finish at Valdepeñas de Jaén. Following a relentless chase between Maunuscord and the peloton, Roglič danced away in the final meters, initially bringing forward Enric Mas with him. After one final kick, Roglič was on his own and took another stage win of La Vuelta, distancing himself from Enric Mas yet again in GC. Now 35 seconds ahead of the Movistar leader, Roglič was the best placed of the red jersey favourites. The GC battle would reopen on stage 14. The summit finish to Pico Villuercas offered the GC guys another chance to catch Roglič out. However, after a surge of pace from Cofidis, Roglič was nestled well. Miguel Angel Lopez decided to launch a convincing attack, but Roglič then set the pace higher, forcing Enric Mas and the other favourites to follow suit. This effort would reduce the gap between Superman Lopez and Roglič down to just 4 seconds when they crossed the line. Now, with Roglič just 1 minute and 36 seconds from Eiking in the GC, the Jumbo-Visma leader surely looked like the strongest in the GC field. After a couple of days of defense on the flatlands of Spain, some decisive mountain stages awaited for the favourites, starting with stage 17's test to the Lagos de Covadonga. The weather may have been biblical, but Ineos Grenadiers' Egan Bernal looked to make a long-range move with 60k to go. After a string of crashes on the wet descent, the duo's gap rose, reaching 2 minutes at one point. With Eiking and Martin going backwards, Roglič marched away from Bernal with 7 kilometers to go, dropping the reigning Giro d'Italia champion in the process. Now on his own at the head of the race, Primož Roglič clinched the stage win emphatically. Behind, Mas tried to roll the dice, but second place was offered up to Sepp Kuss. With this big win at the Covadonga, Roglič would waltz back into the red jersey and firmly in control of this Vuelta España. The standings then returned back in favour for the GC favourites, with Roglič on top, now 2 minutes and 22 seconds ahead of Enric Mas. Stage 18 the next day would provide the last mountain stage of this 2021 Vuelta España, with a difficult mountain climb to the top of the Alto de Gamoniteiro. On the foggy ascent of the climb, the brave attackers Michael Storer and David de la Cruz were being reeled in by Intermarché as the slopes began to get steeper. At 5 kilometers to go, however, Egan Bernal of Ineos Grenadiers decided to light things up by placing an attack, but Roglič followed suit. Miguel Angel Lopez reached out for victory with 2k to go, but Roglič, in true Slovenian fashion, remained comfortable. Although Superman flew over the line in first place, Roglič placed one final attack to clinch the 6 bonus seconds on offer. With the mountains almost complete, Roglič extended his GC lead to 2 minutes and 30 seconds over Enric Mas. Although the steepest mountains were mostly behind the riders, Stage 20 offered a last chance saloon for anyone to gain time on Roglič before the final time trial into Santiago de Compostela. The stage was a dramatic one, opened up by long-range attempts. Ineos Grenadiers tried to explode the race with 80 kilometers to go, however Yates was the one to rip apart the race. Yates pushed again once more, dropping Egan Bernal and Superman Lopez in the process, bringing forward an elite group of top 5 riders. After this, a group of Bahrain victorious riders set the pace, creating a tremendously difficult speed to upkeep. Whilst this was all happening, the Bernal and Lopez group were almost 5 minutes behind Roglič, Mas, Yates and Haig up front. After Marc Pedun and Gino Mado were cooked, Haig set the pace as the final scrambles for time and stage glory were taking place on the final hill. With 3 kilometers to go, the breakaway were caught and the group rested for a while. Whilst everyone looked at each other, Clément Champussin of AG2R Citroën surprised the group by taking the stage win, however behind Roglič rolled home in second place to further extend his lead over Enric Mas. So after a ferocious day of racing, Roglič now looked poised to set off the Vuelta España 2021, with his comfortable lead of 2 minutes and 38 seconds over Enric Mas. Interestingly, however, Jack Haig now stepped into third place after Miguel Angel Lopez surprisingly abandoned during Stage 20. So finally, Stage 21's individual time trial was the last opportunity for Primož Roglič to strike out for victory. After a strong ride from the informed Magnus Cort, Roglič later smashed each and every time on the course to round off a fabulous 3 weeks of racing. Conquering the GC battle with a margin of 4 minutes and 42 seconds over second place finisher Enric Mas and 7 minutes and 40 seconds over Jack Haig, I believe it's fair to say that this was a brilliant display of sporting excellence. Nevertheless, with his skills all around the board and innate ability to sweep up time everywhere, it's no surprise that Primož Roglič has become the 2021 Vuelta España champion. So once again, I will say congratulations to our winner, and guys, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. You can comment down below what your memories of the Vuelta this year are, and stay tuned for more content from the European and World Championships. Well, all that's left to say is thank you for watching, and we will see you around.